Oh, Commanders, how are you doing today? Hopefully you're all doing well. Wanted to put out this video to talk about the new Gorn hostiles. I tried looking them up in STFC.space, but I didn't see them in there. I found another Gorn hostile, but it was a different ship, or a different hostile, different ship. So I want to talk to you about the Gorn hostiles today, maybe some strategies. This is really just an introductory look. Since I couldn't see the firing pattern, not as helpful, but I think we can take a look at the battle report to kind of talk through some of the abilities. And then I want to talk through some of the things based upon your ops level that you can try to focus on to be more effective. I think what we're going to see here is similar to what we've seen in the recent couple of months, you know, with things like the Zindi, whether we're talking you know, the different types of Zindi or the silent hostiles. If you don't have a ship that's equal to your operations level, you're gonna struggle. I found that I was able to kill more of these than I can the silent hostiles. Part of that is because I've been working on my ships, and partly because Scopely has buffed our ships a little bit this month. So you'll see that that your ships have gone up in power. So a couple things to look at, but let's talk about the hostiles, okay? And while I'm pulling that up, just a reminder that really depend upon your support for this channel to be successful. So appreciate everyone that has subscribed, that watches the videos. It's super helpful to help grow the channel. If you're new or haven't subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Really helps out the channel. Hit that thumbs up and the bell notification so you're kept aware of future content. Okay, so let's talk hostiles. So a theme this month is going to be isolytic damage. So first off, we've got their ship ability here, Isolytic Maul. Two things. One, isolytic damage increased by 100%, so they're going to punch hard with their isolytic damage. All piercing stats are increased by 500%. I have some research, or at least, let's see, research, artifacts. I need to do more of the research, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But when I calculated my mitigation, it was only about 20%. So, pretty sad. So we'll have to see. Like I said, this is going to be an introductory look at the hostiles. But that isolytic damage can really hurt. Personally, still working towards my G5 rare. If I can get enough rare ore this month, I will be building a Sanctus, and I will make a video about that for those interested in seeing that. Let's see here. Next ability, Isolytic Vulnerability. And see, we said vulnerability, not invulnerability. They can only take isolytic damage. No damage from the Borg cutting beam. Okay, so let's look at the battle log. Okay, this is probably for me the best crew I found. I'll try to do some testing and create a video because I know you all seem to like that. So do a video to try and help you find the best crews. And I think this is going to be similar to this, once again, to the silent hostiles and the Zindi. That'll depend on, you know, how upgraded your ship is for your level, depend upon the type of crew you'll be able to use to be effective. So we'll just kind of have to play with that and try and give you the knowledge so you can kind of craft your own crews. Okay, so if we look here, 5,321,048 standard damage and +1 for the isolytic damage. All right, so let's have a look at this. If we look at how much I mitigated, hit the right button here, there we go. Okay, so standard damage, I mitigated almost twice as much, not quite, but a little bit, kind of close to that. So 1747848 divided by 5321048. I mitigated about 33% standard damage. So that 500% piercing is significant. Okay, so it's going to do a lot of damage that I'm clearly not able to stop because my mitigation isn't high enough. Okay, let's look at Isolytic, and it is much worse. %. So, oh, what can I say? They punch hard, and it's not crits, but it's that massive 500% piercing that they have. So your mitigation isn't going to be great. Luckily, the rounds from me at least didn't go very long. 2 rounds. I have 1.4 whole health. Less damage a little bit, so a little bit under a million there, it looks like. And then smaller shots. And then here, finally, Janeway procced, and I took 0 whole damage, so that was helpful. But she didn't proc until near the end of the round, which wasn't helpful. But she's proccing earlier here. But she's not stopping all the damage. And see, when I lose the shields, that's when you're going to take lots of damage. But thankfully, in this one, I took out the hostile before it was able to pop any more shots off. And some battles where I took significant hull damage because of that. So I need to kind of think. You have to think about, if you're using Janeway, how much is going to the shields. It helps you take less damage, but then once you take the less, you're taking less damage. You need to end the fight quickly, I guess. So what does this tell me? This tells me that Isolytic damage is huge. You need to be able to take out the hostiles quickly. So anything you can do to increase your Isolytic damage. So they have suggested, I think, on Scopely's website, using Enterprise Picard if you have them, Enterprise Data. They both have Isolytic damage as an officer ability. Janeway has the 10% cascade, a little 10% from me. It'll depend upon your tier. So you want to think about officers that have those abilities. You're going to want to think about, depending upon the level of your ship, do you want to have maybe pairs below decks to help you with mitigation, or do you go all in for damage? You have like Enterprise Troy below decks for your critical damage, having Q below decks. And then you also want to think about, let's see here. So, for example, I have the Blade of Takan, increases Isolytic damage while on an interceptor, and the opponent has a hull breach. So, who triggers hull breach? Well, you could have Gorn or Lorca on your bridge, but that takes an officer slot. Conversely, let's go to officers, and just to make sure we're covering all bases for everyone here, let's go down to the Voyager crew, shall we? Because I think some people that I've talked to have forgotten about some of these officer abilities. So B'Elanna Torres, minus tier 3, knock it down. She applies a hull breach for 1 round based upon the level. And so getting these max is going to be really important. Kim applies morale. So it depends upon the artifact that you're looking for in the ship that you're on, which crew that is going to be helpful to put below deck. My Neelix is still tier 2, and I think I'm getting kind of close. It's still a little ways away, but he's going to apply burning. So those are 3 fantastic officers to increase your Isolytic damage by having them as a below deck officer, okay? So those are good to have. And how do you get these? Well, you run the formation armadas. You have artifact turn-ins that you get from the Voyager loop. So that's going to be important to make sure that you're doing that. There's also these. The Turian Spear increases, can't talk today, Isolytic defense for interceptors. And then you've got these other 2, Cisco's Baseball for explorers. You're increasing your defense. So it's not just attacking, but what can you do for your defense? Defense for battleships. Okay, so this is one source that you need to pay attention to. And if we go here to convert, It's this Isolytic artifact restoration where I noticed that we have the spear, the ball, the baseball, and the coin. Okay, so that's where we're kind of seeing those being sourced. Okay, so that's defense. So if you're a sub-level 50 player like 49 and below, you're going to want to remember these artifacts as well as this, the dual generators. This is a good one for defense if you can unlock it. Mine is level 9, increases Isolytic defense for all ships. So it doesn't matter what ship type you have, but this is a good one to have, okay? So that's another place to go. Unfortunately, this next piece is only for 50 plus, so I didn't set the limits, don't blame me. But for those 50 plus players, at the end of the territory tree, they've got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's going to depend upon, the tough part is these darn chronometric particles. You're going to get them from doing territory capture. But you don't get a bunch unless you pay for the bottom track, which I haven't done, so that's why mine really sucks. I did spend some on this one. I probably spent more than I should have. You know, in hindsight, which is 2020, right? I got more whole health, but what we want to look at is this is for Klingon ships, so more Isolytic damage. And for a while, my Vorcha was my main ship, and I've switched over to Romulan now, and I will be getting a Romulan G5 rare, so I'll need to focus on the Romulan piece, I guess. But all three of these are going to be good to unlock eventually. So Isolytic defense. So I think the defense is going to be one that I'm primarily going to focus on. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, but I think between the artifacts that I have unlocked and the officers in the game and the new ones coming out this month, that probably more of the focus would be how much of the Isolytic damage can you stop, and increasing your defense is going to be super important. So I would suggest that if you haven't done these and you're 50 plus, that you focus on this as much as you can to get your research up to help you with the hostiles. And then, of course, just focusing on your ships. We're in this stage of the game where you really have to focus on pausing and focusing on your ships so your ships are strong enough before you jump up, or you won't be able to do loops, at least not very well. So, unfortunately, that's a position I find myself in. Scopely thinks I should have stronger ships than I actually do. So I can do my dailies, but they come out with these events and, well, just kind of fall apart. So it is what it is, but it's a course of action I'm fine with. I've decided that I'm happy it's playing how I want to, and if Scopely's not happy with that, well, so much. So that's a quick overview. I would love to hear your thoughts. I think once again, in summary, that we need to look at Isolytic defense. We need to look at damage. We need to look at crews to find out which crews are going to be able to be the best combination to do damage. And those are the things that you're going to have to focus on if you're going to be successful in this arc. So just a quick video. Hopefully it's helpful. Leave your comments below. Lastly, I'll also mention the Discord. I always put my in the description below, but feel free to check out Discord. We're starting to develop a community there of people that are testing crews and helping each other figure things out so we can be better players together. So anyways, thank you so much and have a good day.